Okay, I guess we can do the pregame. We had a video earlier this morning talking about the Vancouver Canucks and Elias Pettersson, asking the question as to what's been going on with him and the amount of hate that he has been receiving from this Vancouver fan base. Well, leave that thought in the back of your mind as we get into some of the actual details bestowed upon us heading into today's Friday night showdown, Alex Edler night, between the Vancouver Canucks and the Philadelphia Flyers. I just wanted to say firstly here too, it's good that the Canucks are doing this Edler thing as soon as they can, because at some point throughout the next few days here, Quinn Hughes is going to start taking over all of Alex Edler's records, and before that happens, you know, you gotta give the guy his props. Put him in the Ring of Honor, do whatever it is that you want to do, give him the ceremony, allow him to retire as a Canuck. He had signed the contract already, so we've known that Eagles' return to Vancouver was coming. But let's talk about the actual game, because Edler is, unfortunately, not going to be playing in the game tonight. There were a few people I saw in the Canucks subreddit that were legitimately, seriously, asking if Alex Edler was going to play in tonight's game. And I was like, no, like, he's so old. He hasn't played since 2023. He took the entire 23-24 season off. He's not going to come out of nowhere and play after signing a one-day contract with Vancouver. But I will say, even the idea of current modern day, right now, Alex Edler playing in the Canucks' bottom pairing, it doesn't sound all too bad, considering the way Forbort and Desharnais suited up for Vancouver in Game 1 of the season against Calgary. And it turns out, Rick Tocchet may be putting his hand out there and agreeing, because a tweet from Noah Strang talks about how the Canucks are going to sit Vincent Desharnais as a healthy scratch just one game after signing him to a 2-year, $4 million contract this summer. All it took was one game. And I think a lot of Canucks fans are starting to see, oh, this is why Vinny Desharnais was scratched for Philip Broberg in the playoffs for Edmonton. This is why Desharnais had this reputation. This is why you could say the contract might have been a little bit of an overpay. He's a big dude. He's very solid in terms of his physicality. He can block shots. He can get in people's way. But some of the other intricate details of his game, in particular breakouts and positioning off the puck, there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. Plus, he's not the fastest guy out there, which definitely doesn't help him. It doesn't fit with the Rick Tocchet style of hockey. Sure, he's big, but at the same time, he moves around like he is big. And so, taking a look at the substitutions, take a look at this tweet made by Brendan Batchelor. Kevin Lankinen is starting in goal per Rick Tocchet. Noah Juulsen and Pius Suter are in. Aman and Desharnais are out. So, this is, I'd say, maybe the best course of action for Vancouver. Nils Aman, I didn't really notice him too much in the Calgary game. For Desharnais, we had already talked about him. I think there's a lot of improvements that need to be made there. For Noah Juulsen to step in, I do hope that for the Vancouver Canucks' sake, he does not step up and chase hits like he did in the playoffs in Edmonton. I remember the one goal he had scored, I think it was in Game 3 or was it Game 4, something like that. Might have been Game 6, I forgot. It was in Edmonton, I'm pretty sure, where Noah Juulsen completely abandoned his position and just chased a hit in the neutral zone, which led to an odd man rush the other way. Like, those are the type of plays that you absolutely do not want to see your guys going out there and exhibiting. If you can hit the guy, great, but if it puts your team in a severely worse defensive position, then just don't do it. Don't chase the hit, man. Noah Juulsen did that a bunch of times, and it was definitely annoying. But either way, he'll be stepping in here in Game 2 of the regular season. Aman, Pius Suter, okay, that's a good swap. Pius Suter didn't play in the first game. He had been dealing with something, so seeing him and his versatile gameplay back in the lineup is obviously a plus. And then for Kevin Lankinen to step in, hey, we had said this in the video earlier, but Arturs Silovs has a lot of work to do when it comes to taking care of those longer shots. And now the teams are starting to figure out that that's the book on him. Just take long shots and get out of the way. Make sure that they're kind of screened and they're kind of accurate. They'll go in every single time. Yeah, that's exactly what the Canucks and their coaching staff will need to hone in on for Arturs Silovs, and until they're able to fix that, they can't start this guy. They can't give him the crease without at least going over this in a few practices in a row. I'm not saying like he's never going to play again. I'm just saying, deal with this. Allow him to understand this point of his game. He had an entire offseason to work on his long shots because he was getting exposed in the Edmonton series with goals like that from Cody Ceci and a bunch of other guys, and he didn't fix them. Even in the preseason, he still didn't fix them, and now in Game 1 of the season, did not fix them. Let's go over to an article published by Jeff Patterson yesterday on Canucks Army. Scenes from practice, changes to Canucks lines looming after their opening night loss. What J-Pat goes out there and talks about is the extra stuff that the Vancouver Canucks were doing during the practices yesterday. Suter looks to draw into the lineup as he had skated on the left wing on the third line with Artyom and Connor Garland, while Höglander dropped to the fourth line with Bluger and Kiefer Sherwood. The top two lines remained intact. Arshdeep Bains, recalled by Vancouver from Abbotsford, was on the ice with the big club, but he and Nils Aman were the extra forwards and are likely to sit out on Friday. The other two likely changes will occur in the back end. Noah Juulsen slotted up alongside of Derek Forbort. Juulsen took Vinny Desharnais' spot at practice after Desharnais struggled in his Canucks debut. There also was an update here on Arturs Silovs. He was having a long chat with Canucks goalie coach Marco Torenius at the end of practice. Silovs staying out after Lankinen left the ice might have been an indication of the plan for tomorrow. And it is indeed confirmed that Lankinen is getting the start. Silovs will be the backup in this game number 2. Based on the fact that Silovs stayed out late, he, Bains, and Raty were the last 3 players on the ice. Look for Kevin Lankinen to get his first start in a Vancouver uniform. Silovs had a long chat with Torenius at the end of a formal practice. Silovs then returned to the net and worked on long shots through screens. He also faced JT Miller and Connor Garland in a series of informal shootout attempts. There you go. Long shots through screens. That's exactly what he needed to work on. The bottom of the article goes out there and talks about a few extra things. Rick Tocchet spoke out about Arturs Silovs. I talked to him after the game and said, if you're going to be in this business a really long time, those games are going to happen. He's a really good goaltender, and to be a really good goaltender, you can ask Demko, you're going to have nights like that. You go to practice the next day and work on your game. He's fine. We've put him in tough spots and he's responded, so I'm not worried about him. Good on Rick Tocchet for believing in his guys. But also you have to remember that a lot of the screens, a lot of the goals that Silovs let in that were long range, I mean, the Canucks defense did not really help him out in that respect. They were kind of getting in the way of Silovs and his vision, and also some of the checking and the boxing out was non-existent. The Huberdeau goal in the Calgary game where Carson Soucy was just standing there was one of the bigger examples of that, where Silovs did not get any support from his D-men. Hopefully Noah Juulsen's presence in the lineup will help that out, but of course I'm not going to go out there and say that Juulsen, of all people, is going to be the big tides turning change. Tocchet goes out there and talks about the bottom pair defense as well here. If Vinny Desharnais sits out some games, he's going to work with our guys. It worked with Höglander, it worked with Dakota. You can't be afraid to have that ability to sit players to help them work in their games. Juulsen could come in tomorrow or the next game and we can have a little bit of a rotation and guys can work with the coaches. I think that's important. So Tocchet already talking about the rotation here, not necessarily just rotating the goalies, but also rotating the defensemen. Arturs Silovs then went out there and said this, I just wanted to clean up my game. There are some things I maybe have to do better, and traffic could be a little bit better too. It's small things. I watched a little bit after the game, and now I'm focusing on moving forward. And finally, Noah Juulsen commented on the potential of him playing, I think I just gotta keep it simple, go north when I can, and not overcomplicate the game. That's the biggest thing for me. I've worked with footy and Gaunch, and you learn to stay with it every day. At some point, you'll get a chance to get in. So, with this in mind, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about all these Vancouver Canucks roster moves heading into today's game against the Philadelphia Flyers. A little bit of an extra video here, going over some actual news instead of going off of just some regular old Elias Pettersson as the bad commentary, because obviously that was the narrative that a lot of fans were talking about the past 48 hours too. We'll see whether or not these guys are able to bounce back. We'll see whether or not the Canucks are able to take it to a Philadelphia Flyers team coached by John Tortorella and led by rookie Matvei Mishkov, 2 rookies in fact. Jet Luchenko is also doing his thing there in the Flyers organization. But other than that, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Lots to talk about here. Alex Edler retirement night. The Philadelphia Flyers coming to town. I guess because the game is in Vancouver, we're going to have a lot of buzz here. If anybody is going, then okay. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about that. Downtown's going to be a riot today, isn't it? What, with the card show going on and the Vancouver sporting events, lots of buzz going on in the city. It's also getting pretty chilly outside too, so please bundle up. Thoughts in the comment section below, though, about the Vancouver Canucks and these roster moves. I hope you enjoyed this video. Zayne, and bye.